What's going on, guys? So I'm super excited. I've just picked up yet again another DW9000 pedal. So today I just want to do a really quick video and I want to compare a couple of things. The first is this is a first gen versus the second gen, and I want to talk about a couple of differences between the two. Secondly, this is the standard 9000 and my new ones are the XF or the extended footboard version. So they're a little bit different there, and I want to talk about that. And then the third thing I want to talk about again is my old set is full DW, but my new pedal has another upgraded trick drive shaft. Now I've talked about this trick shaft before. If I could figure this out, I do one of those cool like check out the link here, because I've actually got another set of 9000 pedals with that trick shaft upgrade, and I did some time-lapse comparison, but in this case I just want to show you what happens over time and give you a real comparison on the old versus the new, and you'll see as we get to the video, so stick along for that. So let's talk about the very first thing. Alright, so this is a Gen 1 and this is a Gen 2. Alright, there are some big and there's some subtle differences between the two. And I'm not going to go over everything, but I'm going to try to run through some of the easy ones that some of you know, maybe some of you won't. The very first thing to know about the first gen versus the second is the first gen was designed that in a pinch, or if you needed, you could run it as a single or a double pedal. Okay, so it has, on the slave side, it has a hookup that you can actually still put. If I take off my beater, I can take my beater, I can stick it over here. Now if I take the springs out, I can put the springs over here. Now I have two single pedals. Okay, with the new version, there is no attachment for a beater. Okay, even if you look at the bottom, you'll notice there is a spot to clamp this onto a bass drum. The new version has no spots, no clamps. You can't hook it up to anything. So in the second generation, you either buy a double pedal or you buy two single pedals if you have two bass drums. And that's a pretty big deal. I thought it was, but there's never been a time where I'm like, oh man, I better go ahead and switch this out and create. I got a second bass drum, I'm going to create two. Now I've literally just gone out and bought two matching bass drum pedals. I've never taken apart a double pedal because I went and got a second bass drum, and I have several kits that have multiple bass drums. So it's no big deal to me, but to some people that was a pretty big deal. Another difference is how they attach. The slave pedal, the second pedal attaches the same. It's just got a single lock in the front. But on the drive pedal here, the old version had two keys, and it came in from the side. So you had to come in this way. I'll be honest, it's kind of a pain in the ass sometimes if you already got your pedal installed to the bass drum. With the new version, it's literally just a single lock on the front, just like the slave was. And if you have your bass drum already attached, it's really easy to just hold this back, do all your adjustments, put your pedal on, and be done. The nice thing, you know, with DW pedals that we all know, I mean, it's pretty simple. Is once you set these locks in place, you just set it and you're good to go. So, you know, this is very convenient as an easy, quick fix. The other huge difference that I really personally love, if I get this out of the way, is the way that the bass drums hook up to the pedal. The old version was just a claw. Okay, the problem with this is, to be honest, and it has happened, but a bass drum is always curved. There's no flat spot. Okay, with this, I've had stages or risers where, you know, the floor is kind of crooked and the bass drum pedal will sit kind of funky, right? But if you don't get it onto the bass drum at the perfect bottom, it's the bass is going to be crooked, and it drives you nuts. Or sometimes the bass will sit high in the back. It's just weird, right? And you can't figure it out. You've readjusted it several times. Well, with the new generation, it's got these nice 3 feet, and they're on a swivel. So that'll really hit that curve no matter where you are. It'll adapt to the bass drum, and it'll make the pedal always sit nice and flush. These are also a lot less abusive to getting the pedal rash. Unfortunately, this one has left some pedal rash on my bass drum, but it's been on there for a while. This one will be a lot nicer, and I'm excited to put that on. Other than that, the springs are very similar. They really didn't change much for that. The setup there, they did extend this out a little bit. It's a little bit beefier. The cams, though, have definitely been changed. These are a lot more rounded. This is still a little bit more aggressive, but you can see, well, I don't know if you can see it or not, but they took a lot of material off, and the chain looks like it sits higher, and the drive shaft, it's just been reworked, and I think it makes it a lot nicer and smoother. Other than that, the way that you adjust your chains, the heights, those have all been pretty much the same. Another difference is the bottom had Velcro on the first generation. The second generation is just a rubber pad now. But if your bass drum is set up right, it's still got spikes on there, it's not going to go anywhere. So I don't miss the Velcro. I enjoy the rubber. It sits just fine for me. Other than that, you still get a key. The shape of where it sits is a little bit different, but you still get your key that comes with it, and it's still tightens from a knob on the side. The knob has changed a little bit. It looks nicer now, a little fancier. But that's really some of the key differences between the first gen and the second gen. The difference between the standard pedal and the extended footboard, it's literally an inch difference. I measured from the chain down to the hinge, and on a standard pedal it comes in at 9 3/4 inch. With the extended footboard, you're going to extend that down to 10 3/4 inch. So they literally have extended it a full inch difference. So I could probably take this off, and we'll take a look. So if I take this shaft off real fast, and I set them next to each other, you'll see, yeah, we gained an inch in depth for the footboard, right? So there's not much more to it than that. Compared to, like, let's say an Axis longboard, it's still quite a lot different. I own some Axis longboards. The big difference is you still have a heel plate. So on these DWs, your foot can still sit here, and then there's, this doesn't move the pedal. On the Axis longboards that I have, there is no heel plate. The hinge is the heel plate. So even with your heel, it hits here, you can still move the pedal. Here, you have to keep your foot higher off this heel if you want your heel to move any of it. And it's really subtle, but I'm not here to compare those. I can compare those in another video if someone wants me to. But between the standard and the extended footboard, the difference is an inch in depth. You're gaining an inch. Is that going to make a huge difference? I guess we'll find out. For me, having some extended footboards in a single version, I'll tell you honestly, it almost feels a little heavier sometimes, but I'm excited to try these out, and we can do another review down the road on what the difference or how I feel. The very last thing I want to talk to you, the third thing, and I can't stress this enough, is this Trick shaft. Trick did an awesome job. Like I said, you can go find my old video if you want to see some more comparisons one-on-one. I'm not going to get too into it, but I want you to think about this. I've owned these pedals for a long time. I've had these for several years. They've gone to many shows with many gigs, traveled a lot of miles on these, okay? This shaft has never been changed. This is the original shaft that came with it. And unfortunately, it's getting to that point where you need to change it out. Because watch this. If I hold this pedal still, look at all the play in this U-joint. Okay? That is not good when you're trying to play some smooth, fast double bass. Now, if I extend this back, listen to this. Hear all that clunking, clunk, clunk, clunk? That's because there's movement. And it's not just on one side. There's movement on this side too. Okay? This U-joint over here is just as bad. So let's pull this U-joint off real fast. And you'll see what I'm talking about. This side, you can even hear it. This side, just as bad. With that said, you can get a lot of turn between the two. Okay? And that's just going to happen over time. But even on a brand new, so this is brand spanking new. This is off of this new pedal. It's never been used. It was upgraded right away. Even brand new, there is some slight movement on this side and on this side. Okay? It's just in the design. There's nothing you can do about it. Now, it's very minimum on a brand new pedal, but it is still there. Okay? Now, with that said, if I put this back on and I show you one more time, okay, when I hit this pedal down, all that clunk is from the U-joint. Okay? When I take this one now, and it's got the upgraded shaft, it's as smooth as butter. Compared to blump, blump, blump. Blump, blump. Right? So I can't tell you how excited I am to feel the difference between this versus that. Alright, because a lot of that is once this beater hits this bass drum, then this foot is still moving. Right? So we hit. Now, look at this. Look at how much room I have from here to there before it comes back. So I can't stress it enough that DW needs to upgrade this. And I know some of the comments are going to say this. The MDD has a new shaft. Well, that's great. But these aren't the MDD pedals. So I shouldn't have to spend $700 on a pair of pedals that still has a shaft that was designed in, who knows, the 80s, 90s, and has never been upgraded, even though these pedals keep getting upgraded. You know, 3000s, 5000s, 7000s, there's 8000s, 9000s. So I really feel that for $700, it should get a much, much better shaft. So I can't stress enough that if you do have a DW pedal, spend the extra $130, buy the trick shaft. You will not regret it. I promise that. So that's basically it. I just want to talk about those three things. Some of the differences between the first gen, second gen, the difference in the standard versus the extended. There's not much. It's like an inch difference. And the third is these shafts and how, even though this pedal, this side is still smooth as glass, this shaft is what's really starting to lag on this. And when I'm playing, I can feel it. All right? So I'm very excited that this pedal has zero lag in it. It's gonna, hold that a lot longer. Watch this. Dead. Still going. Right? So, if there's any questions, if you want me to compare it to anything else, compare it to like my Axis longboards, I could show you that. The only problem is those are single pedals. So it's a little different, but at least I could, try to compare it. But if you have any questions, comments, put them in there. Let me know. If you want to see me do something different in comparison, I will. But that's my little video. Thanks for watching.